The reason is context. That's why it's important to have a sword teacher and not just get stuff off of the internet in a 1-minute clip. If my hand is far away, it's because in old history they were wearing 2 swords, not one. Often in Iaido that you're showing one sword, the long sword, the katana. People forget about the wakizashi. This was worn for hundreds of years as a 2 sword in the belt system. For me to draw my sword from here, I can't. The wakizashi handle is in the way, so I can't go this way. I'm going to impede myself or limit the way I draw. That's why often you'll see me bring the sword out. By bringing the handle out, now my right hand goes this line, avoiding the wakizashi in order to draw. My right hand meets the sword as I bring it out in this axle line here. Now when I pull my hips back, the sword is drawn quickly without hitting the handle of the wakizashi. Same when I return in Noto. When I bring the saya out, it's because I am meeting my sword here, way out here, far away from the hips. This keeps the wakizashi from being hit by my hand. Now, by me leaving my wrist out, when the opponent goes to cut my wrist, when I'm here, as he goes to cut, my waist and body moves back. And watch how the sword takes the place of my right wrist. Now the sword is cutting him before he cuts me. It's all part of Kenjutsu, so when my sword goes back, I don't think about putting the sword back in the saya. The saya goes back onto the sword. I hope that makes sense. So to review one more time, often I can't draw this way. I have to bring the sword out, and my hand meets it way out in this triangular form. My waist pulls back. If you watch my hips, they move back, and the sword is not removed from the saya. The saya, sayabiki, the saya is stripped from the sword. You see it. And then same thing coming back. Saya comes out here. Saya goes back, drawing to the sword. It's all about context. What type of clothing were we wearing? Were we wearing armor? Is this a 18th century Edo period or is this 16th century? Kenjutsu is about where the swords are, what you're wearing, where you're putting everything, and can you be attacked from any moment. In the older period, when you wore 2 swords, this would often get in your way. So you have to change the way that you draw the sword out. Or should I say, you have to change the way you remove the saya from the sword. That was a great question, and everything in Kenjutsu and martial arts has context surrounding it. Never watch one way of doing something and assume that's it. That's why we need teachers to show us the context.